Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my 1 month update on my Pan That palette. I've got to figure out a different way of saying that. I honestly just get stuck every time I try to say it. At any rate, it is the Tartelette in Bloom from Tarte. This isn't a full month. I am filming right now on January 25th. I started my project on January 1st, but I will be leaving for Cuba very soon, and so I won't be taking it with me because I know I'm not going to apply makeup while I'm away. My makeup routine is going to be applying sunscreen and wearing sunglasses. That is what's going to get me through the week. So I thought that I would film this now so that I can upload it, because while you're watching this, I am sitting on a beach, probably sipping on a pina colada. So let's do this. So in this video, I am going to show you how I created this look and how I managed to use almost every shadow in this palette to do so. But let's take it back to January 1st and take a look at what the palette looked like when I started this project. And here is what the palette looks like now. So obviously I haven't hit pan on anything yet, but I have made some pretty good dips in some of these shadows. So in particular, the shade Smoke Show here, if you can see it, because it's a metallic palette, it does kick back the light. But if you can see in there, there's quite the groove going on, and that's because I use this on my brows pretty much every day. In addition, there is a very good dip going on in the shade Funny Girl here. I like to use this one as an inner corner highlight, as a brow highlight. I love it on the lids. That's what I have on the inner half today, but I also use it as a face highlight. None of the other shadows have any really discernible dips going on in them. When I look from a certain angle, I can see a bit of a groove in this shade here, which is called Flower Child. I usually mix these two to set my eyelid primer and to blend everything out, but I'm happy with the progress so far, and really what I'm really happy about and what I'm really proud about is the fact that I've stuck with it. Yes, we're only 3.5 weeks into this project, but historically I have not been particularly good at remaining focused on one palette. I think what's making the difference for me is that I reach for this for my day-to-day makeup, so when I'm getting ready for work, or if I'm running errands on the weekend, things like that, this is my go-to. But when I sit down to film videos for YouTube, I give myself full creative license. Sometimes I will still incorporate shades from here, but I haven't made it a rule for myself that I can only use this no matter what. I think if I did that, I would be just so stinking bored of it. But the fact that I've given myself that freedom really just blends everything out. Blends everything out, wow. But the fact that I've given myself that freedom really just makes this so easy for me. And I really actually kind of like just knowing in the morning what palette I'm going to use. I don't have to sit and think about it and look at my collection and figure out what am I going to wear to match what color eyeshadow. It's brainless. It goes with everything. I can wear any lipstick with it. It's a beautiful palette, and it works so nicely. Tarte, for all the shit I give them, Tarte does make very nice shadows. It's just that they make the same shadows and put them in multitudes of palettes over and over again without really bringing anything new to the table. So I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to hit pan on certain shadows or only focus on certain shadows, anything like that. The focus is just to keep on using it. And I will update you at the beginning of March with my 2-month update, and we'll see where we're at that point. But for now, let's take a look at how I created this look and what shadows I used to do so. Here we go. So I've already applied all of my base products, and I'll just quickly walk you through what I've used just in case you're curious. So for primer, I just used a primer spray today. This is from Shop Miss A, and it's the UHD primer spray. Not my favorite product, but I'm just trying to use it up at this point. For foundation, I used a sample that I have of the NARS Sheer Glow foundation, and then for concealer, I have my MAC 24 Hour Studio Fix in the shade NC20. I set those products in place, so my under eyes I have set with the Stellar Cosmic Face Powder in Haze, and then the rest of my face is set with the Becca Hydra Mist powder. Also, I have primed my lids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. So then I just want to show you how I am trying to maximize my use of this palette. So first of all, I'm going to set the eyelid primer, and to do that, I just take my Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques, and I kind of mix back and forth between these two shades here. So the lighter shade is Charmer, and then Flower Child is the one below it. And then I just pat that over the lids and I take it up to the brows as well. And I find that that just helps with the blending of shadows on top of it. When I use really bright eyeshadows, I tend not to set the primer just so that they're as vibrant as possible, but obviously this palette is not bright in nature, so I like it to be as blendable as possible. So I'm going to start with the eyes first, and then I'll show you how I use the palette to finish out my face. So I'm not going to do any sort of intricate look. This palette doesn't really lend itself to like super intricate looks, but it is a great little standard 9 to 5 palette for me. I have actually really been enjoying using it, and I haven't really got bored yet, which is surprising for me. So anyways, I'm going to use, this is the Morphe M510 brush. It's just a gigantic fluffy brush. And I'm going to pick up the shade Smarty Pants right here. And then I'm just going to apply that as a transition shade. Next, I'm going to use my MAC 217, and I'm going to pick up the shade Rebel down here, and I'm going to use that to deepen up the crease. I also dragged that shade a little bit onto the lid as well, just to help with blending out the darker shade that I'm about to go into. So I'm going to use a Volair brush. This one is the E07, and I'm going to just tap lightly into this shade right here, which is called Leader. I'm just going to put that in the outer corner, and I'm also going to run it under the lower lash line. Then I'm going to use another brush from Volair. This is the E06. It's just a flat shader brush. And I'm going to pick up this shade here called Funny Girl. And then to intensify that shade a bit, I'm going to spray it with MAC Fix Plus. And then I'm just going to pat that over the inner portion of my lids. Then I'm going to go back to the 217 and pick up a little bit more of that shade Rebel, and just use that to blend between where the darker shade and that shimmery shadow are. Just going to go back to that original fluffy brush, pick up a little bit more of Smarty Pants, and then use that just to blend all of those shadows again. It's the 202 from e.l.f. I'm going to pick up that shade Funny Girl again and just use that as an inner corner and a brow highlight. I'm going to keep the liner really simple. I'm just going to use a pencil liner. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Stag. It's just a matte dark brown. I'm going to put that just sort of over half of the upper lid. And then I'm just going to use my finger just to buff it out a little bit so it doesn't look quite so harsh. And I'm also going to apply that to the outer half of my lower waterline. For mascara, I'm going to use the Burberry Cat Lashes. This is just what's in my makeup basket for this week. And then on to brows. So first I'm going to apply the Arbonne Shape It Up Tinted Brow Cream in medium dark. And then I'm going to fill them in using the shade Smoke Show, which is this dark brown up here. And that's it for eyes and eyebrows. So now on to the face. I'm going to start off with contouring, and for that I'm going to use this shade right here called Jet Setter. It's just a little bit of a cooler toned brown, and I find that at least on my skin complexion it works really well for creating realistic looking shadows. For bronzer, I'm going to use that shade Smarty Pants because it is a little bit warmer and it's a little bit difficult to get into it with a large brush, but I just kind of take my time with it and it's not the end of the world. For blush, I use the shade Sweetheart down here. It's just a nice matte dusty pink. And then for highlighter, I use Funny Girl. For lips, I'm going to use a sample that I have from Lime Crime. This is one of their plushies in the shade Toasted Marshmallow. And then because metallic lips are all the rage, you can top it with one of these ones here. So I'm going to use the shade Firecracker. It's this little copper one here. Just going to pick it up on my finger and just pat it over that lipstick. And there you have it. So in total, I have used 10 out of 12 of the shadows in this palette on my face to create this look. I don't do this every single day, but it is one way to really maximize the use of the palette to help you burn through those shadows just a little bit faster. Anyways, guys, I hope that you found this interesting and helpful. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.